is look like momentum changing technicals we can't have. The unnecessary ones like we can't have.
Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White joins the Good Follow podcast to break down Caitlin Clark's growth, the kind of texts she's already sending about next season, and dives deep into what's brewing for the Fever moving forward. Would you like it in a more casual or dramatic tone for YouTube narration? So Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White recently appeared on the Good Follow podcast. And for me, the most interesting part by far was hearing her thoughts on Caitlin Clark's development, especially how she believes Caitlin can improve going into next season. She got into the technical side of things, which I love. At one point, she even brought up the idea of Caitlin potentially adding a Euro step to her game. And I'll be honest, until she said that, I had never really pictured Caitlin doing a Euro. But now that it's out there, it actually makes a lot of sense. And I have to say this, I gotta call it out. A couple months back, I made a video talking about how Caitlin Clark could elevate her game. I mentioned how she could work on her left hand, and how some of her moves can be a bit predictable at times. There was some backlash. Not overwhelming, but definitely a bit of pushback from people saying, she's never really needed a strong left hand before. But here's the thing. She's now the most scouted player in the league. She's literally at the top of every team's scouting report. That's why I was saying she's gotta switch things up and add a little unpredictability to her bag. So, to hear Coach Stephanie White, an actual coach, talk about that same idea of growth and skill expansion, it was super validating and honestly fascinating. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
Strength and muscle. She had that viral picture.
Yeah, you saw that, yeah. I asked her if it was Photoshopped.
She said it was AI.
It wasn't AI or anything like that. But coming from someone who works in post-production, I can tell you, if you mess with the contrast and really dial it up, it can seriously enhance what you're seeing on screen. Not saying she didn't bring the energy herself, because she definitely did. But boosting the contrast just makes everything pop a little more. It kind of amplifies the vibe, you know? Just makes it all feel more intense, even if the original moment was already solid.
What aspects of her game would you like to work with her on for this season?
Yeah, I mean, certainly getting stronger was one. You know, the level of physicality in the W is totally different. You know, that's the way that teams have to try to keep her off balance, keeping a low center of gravity. You know, there are times where she plays a little bit upright, making sure core strength and her ability to move with time under tension and stay in a low center of gravity is important. You know, lateral movement, like one of the challenges that we're coming to her with right away is on the defensive end of the floor. No, you know, use your size, use your length. You've got to that's got to be a priority, right? That's got to be a priority to play both ends, because we don't have to go from, you know, 11 or 12 to 1 or 2, but we got to get to middle of the pack. You know, I think from just a straight basketball perspective, making sure that we help her diversify you know, her finishing ability, diversify in the way that it's not predictable, to be.
Exactly, like there's no doubt that she's great. Caitlin Clark is phenomenal. But at this level, she's not playing college ball anymore. She's already leveled up. And now she's up against the absolute best, the cream of the crop. And those defenders, they will catch on. They're going to notice the tendencies, like how she doesn't really like driving left. She's clearly right-hand dominant, always looking to go right. And when she does those signature step backs, she's usually stepping back left to shoot. But here's what stood out to me. I've been seeing some of her off-season workout clips, and I've noticed she's starting to work on that left hand. I've seen her stepping and finishing right more deliberately. And honestly, that's exciting. These are the exact kinds of things you want to see from someone who's already elite. She's not staying the same. She's evolving, she's adding layers, and that's what's going to make her even harder to guard next season.
to be able to be equal in terms of production and facilitation going right and left, to be able to have different types of finishing looks, whether it's, crossbody finishes, whether it's floaters at the rim, whether it's quick floaters, long floaters, Euros. You can't quite be as fundamentally predictable with as much athleticism, speed, quickness, and as much as the game plan is going to be geared toward her. And then I think the challenge for us as coaches is how do we get her rest when she's on the floor while she's playing, right? Like while she's on the floor. And some of that's going to be playing off ball, utilize her as a screener, getting her.
So there's been a lot of pushback from people when it comes to the idea of Caitlin Clark playing off the ball, mainly because she's just that good at reading the floor. Her basketball IQ is honestly on another planet. She sees things before they happen, and that's a huge part of what makes her special. But at the same time, it's also true that carrying that kind of load every single possession can wear a player down. And burnout is real, especially at the pro level where the pace and physicality are non-stop. Caitlin herself has even mentioned being open to playing off the ball a bit more. And I think that's actually a smart move. Letting her operate off the ball occasionally not only gives her a breather, but it also makes her game more sustainable over the course of a full season. She can still be a threat, still dictate the game, just without having to shoulder every single play. It's all about balance. And in the long run, that'll only make her even more dangerous. Need this version punched up for a high-energy YouTube segment?
Getting her into action on the third and fourth side instead of the first and second, where it's easy to game plan against. Now, how we use her to help everybody else be better off the ball. We know how great she is with the ball in her hands. We're not going to take that away, but we've got to be able to diversify a bit in how we use her. So from those kind of challenges as well. I mean, we've got like a short-term kind of list and we got a long-term kind of list, but Caitlin, I remember from the very first day when we were working on balance and we were working on footwork and we were looking at all those things, from day one to day two, she had it.
Wow.
Like she's a perfectionist and she wants it and she's going to work on it. So that long list might get shorter every day we're in practice.
Another part of the list too takes a look at Aaliyah Boston, because that two player.
And maybe we'll dive deeper into Aaliyah Boston in another video, because I actually just dropped one yesterday about her workout with Natasha Howard and Brianna Turner. My main takeaway from that was how dominant Aaliyah is when it comes to getting inside and just bodying defenders. That physicality is her bread and butter. But something I'd really love to see her focus on more is her footwork, especially her lateral movement and how she can lengthen those steps or improve her positioning in tighter spaces. She's got that nice little floater she likes to go to, and she's really solid in pick and roll situations. Not so much in the pick and pop though, since her three-point shots still need some work. And actually, that's something Coach Stephanie White brought up too in this interview. She talked about wanting to develop Aaliyah's outside game more. But we can get into that in another video if y'all are interested. Just let me know in the comments if you want a deeper breakdown on Aaliyah. But yeah, everything we're hearing right now, from workouts to coach interviews, it all just makes sense to me. It's part of the bigger plan to build something serious in Indiana. So, a few months back I pointed this out, and honestly, it still stands. One of the biggest things I think Caitlin Clark could benefit from in her career is developing her left hand. I'm talking about left-handed layups, shot creation, even just being more comfortable finishing on that side. Now that we've had a full season to watch Cesse's game at the pro level, we know she's an elite shooter, like truly next level. But what also stands out, and what's becoming more scoutable, is her tendency to step back going left for her jumper, and her almost complete avoidance of driving left when she's attacking the paint. I've watched multiple possessions where she has a clear lane to drive left, but instead, she'll force it right, sometimes making it way harder on herself, sometimes even getting blocked. Now, because she's so talented, she often still makes the shot. That's the thing. Her shot making is elite, so she can make difficult plays look routine. But here's the problem. She's now at the top of every scouting report in the league. And if she keeps leaning into these same tendencies, defenses are going to lock in on them. She's got to mix it up and expand her toolkit. That's what's going to keep defenders guessing. So I decided to really dig into the film and find examples of what I'm talking about. And yeah, I found some solid ones. Let's look at this play right here. Caitlin's driving in, and Alana Smith is defending. Now, if Cece had a solid left-handed hook, or even just a confident left-handed finish, she could have used the spacing more effectively. Instead, she goes up with her right, straight into Alana's wingspan, which makes it way easier to block. I'm not saying Alana Smith definitely gets the block either way, but going up with her right hand here just feeds it right into the defender's reach. If I were Caitlin, I'd want to add something like a left-hand hook in that situation, or even a soft-touch floater with the offhand, just to create that extra layer of unpredictability. This is the kind of evolution that can take an already great player to unstoppable. And I think Caitlin is capable of making that leap. So yeah, those were just a couple of examples I pulled. And let me tell you, it took a minute to make this video. I had to really go back, watch tape, find the right moments that back up what I've been saying for months. But here's the exciting part. Caitlin Clark has been in the lab. Since I made that original video, we've seen clips from practices and training sessions, and she's clearly working on the exact things we talked about, like building up that left hand, improving her finishing variety, and just becoming less predictable. And honestly, you heard Coach Stephanie White say it herself. When Caitlin puts her mind to something, she attacks it hard. And sometimes, she comes back the next day with it nearly mastered. Now, of course, it's not like she's instantly perfected everything, but you can tell these are priorities. These are the things on the docket to take Caitlin from elite to untouchable. Because let's be real, you can't keep doing the same moves over and over again when you're facing the best defenders in the world. These players will figure you out. They'll block you. They'll close off those favorite driving lanes. So her leveling up now? It's necessary. Now, if you're interested in more examples or my full breakdown of Caitlin Clark's development throughout last season, I'll link that original analysis video in the description. It's packed with clips and context that really highlight what I'm talking about. Also, I highly recommend watching the full Stephanie White interview. It gives great insight.
If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you.